relationships, trauma, philosophy. Relationships, trauma, philosophy.
Hello and welcome to episode 75 of Yalla Habibi.
Welcome to Yalla Habibi.
Indeed. If you like podcasts that are about relationships, travel, philosophy and life in general, then please subscribe, like, share and rate us. 5 out of 5. Takes less than a minute. And also come check us out on TikTok as well. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, really do. Please do. It really helps us. We like to just ask this at the start of the episode because we always forget. So we just need to quickly get it out of the way.
And you can do it right now, like literally while you're listening. Just go and do it.
Yeah.
Just hit that share button. Send it to your. You know, if you've got like a group of colleagues.
Yeah, get them all to do it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, just like send it into your work group chat. And like, oops, sorry guys, meant to send this to someone else, and then just get them, get everybody to follow us. It'd be great.
That would be really good. That
We
would help us a lot.
When we have a very exciting episode today, we are going to be talking about North Korea.
We are, because we recently visited South Korea, and we're going to tell you all about that as well. And we're actually going to give you our impressions of it in our segment Worth the Trip, and also let you know the vegan rating and vegan Voyagers. But there's actually quite a bit we learned about North Korea, and we actually came within a... What do they always say? People say, oh, it's just a stone's throw.
Yeah, it was a stone's throw away, or a hair's breadth.
A hair's breadth, yeah. I reckon I could have thrown a stone from where we were over the fence.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think quite easily.
It wasn't that far. Yeah, so we were a stone's throw from North Korea.
We were, and we could see the flag, we could see the buildings, we could see a lot, really. So from where we were in Incheon, we went to Seoul, the capital of South Korea, and you could do a day trip to the DMZ. You get to go to like quite a few parts of the demilitarized zone. You get to see some really interesting historical sites. One of the most interesting things I learned was that they are technically, like, the war's never ended in Korea. There's no official end date to the war. You know, there's various times that conflicts have arisen. Like, even just a couple of years ago, like, you know, some serious threats, I guess, from the north to the south. It was a really good tour. We booked it through, I think, Viator, was it?
We did book it through Vital, where we booked most of our travel through. Get Your Guide is another pretty good one.
Yeah.
And always look for a discount, by the way. Just search discount codes. There's usually a discount code out there.
If you're on Uni Days, then I think I got a Uni Days code for, which is a student app for students.
Yeah, if you're a student, you get access to those. There's Honey as well, which is a Chrome extension. It was a worthwhile trip. I think that was the coolest thing we did in South Korea. It was really exciting to go and literally see North Korea for the first time. We were literally right on the border. There were different sections of the border. There was sort of the area where there were villagers who lived right next to the border. Then there was like I can't quite remember. Then there was like that was the demilitarized zone, sorry. And then there was the actual South Korean border to North Korea. And you could see it. And then not far from that would have been the fencing of the North Korea side. Because, of course, they can't just have the North Korean military and the South Korean military just literally on the other side of the wall to each other. I think they would kick off. So there is some space between both those walls. But it was amazing. They had telescopes at the top.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny. There was like 25 telescopes, and you'd just like be looking at these people that are just getting on with their day, which they probably think is bizarre that we're doing that, but we think it's an interesting country, I guess.
It is. It's really fascinating. And we weren't allowed to take photos up there, which was a recent development. So you used to be able to, like, you go up to the observatory, and if you look out to the left, then it's North Korea. If you look to the right, then it's South Korea. And yeah, you used to be able to take photos, but they've, in the last time it kicked off, seriously, a couple of years ago, they said, right, you're not taking pictures anymore. So I find that interesting. I think it's interesting that they ever did allow it, if I'm being honest. But
yeah,
it was. You could see there's a funny story about the the flagpoles, I think South Korea had the tallest flagpole in the world at something like 70 metres or...
Something like this, yeah.
And then North Korea put it to 100 metres, and then South Korea put theirs a bit higher, and then North Korea ended up making theirs 160 metres or something crazy, and it is like significantly taller.
It is. We could see it, and it was extremely tall. So they just, over like 10 years, they kept putting out their flags tall until currently North Korea is the taller of the flags.
Yeah. But you could see them with the naked eye, even like without the binoculars. Like you couldn't see... You could see both the South Korea and North Korea flagpoles not that far apart, couldn't you?
No,
like,
not far apart at all.
Well,
Yeah, it was extremely close. It was an interesting feeling being on the border there. You hear so much in the news, and you make up your own assumptions, and it was an odd feeling seeing a country like that just right next door. I never thought I would ever come close to it. It was just an odd feeling. It was interesting. But it was a strange. I found it to be quite a strange feeling.
Yeah, it was. It was somewhat like, is solemn or sombre? Is that I don't know what the word is, but like, yeah, there's like a calmness to it, but a sadness to it. That like the places that we visited, but like while we were there at the observation deck, our tour guide said that they had their North Korea had their propaganda blaring from speakers. And so South Korea, because they know that the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, hates K-pop, they would just blast K-pop back at them.
Yeah, this was true. So it only just recently, I believe, they turned it off. So if we went something like 6 months before, we would have been there also listening to K-pop full blast.
I'd have loved it.
Yeah, you would have loved it, which is quite funny. Yeah, they just played it full blast on the border just simply to irritate Kim Jong. But there seems to be a lot of surprisingly petty things that they've done between each other. You know, like Shelby said, the war is carried on, which is an interesting thing to grasp, because I consider when war is carrying on, there's boots on the ground, there's firing, and that isn't happening right now. But they made it very clear that the war is still on. There is still a divide. So I think they're more meant in that way, and obviously political. There'll be, I'm sure, a lot of political disputes and political fighting. But another tactic that North Korea had was they actually sent balloons, these big, big balloons over the South Korean border, just full of rubbish. So it was just full of their bin bags, and then that would eventually pop. And it would just basically cope the local town, which is very close to the border. We went to that local town. It was a nice little village. And it would just, drop rubbish on that town. So there's some, I was quite surprised to hear leaders doing things like this, blasting K-pop, sending rubbish. It just shocks me that leaders in power are making decisions to make. That seems quite petty to me.
Yeah, they definitely seem like petty ones. I mean, I suppose a more serious one is that there are 3... Are there 3 tunnels? There might even be more.
There's 3 tunnels that have been found.
Yeah, I think they suspect there might be more. But these would... Well, each side says that the other one dug it. Apart from this particular... We went in what's called the 3rd tunnel. And there are dynamite holes that point towards South Korea, and there's fake ash rubbed on the ceiling. To basically, they wanted to make it look like a coal mine, so they painted it to look like a coal mine. But yeah, like the evidence, well, I suppose we're only hearing South Korea's side of it, but it's very clear that they were targeting us. And we even got to go in the 3rd tunnel, which was really cool. We had to wear a helmet, and thank God we did, because I banged my head so many times.
Oh yeah, there was so much scaffolding holding it up, which was also kind of scary. It was exceptionally long. It's literally a tunnel that burrows between south and north. What I've read online was there's still a dispute between who built it. But of course, South Korea say they built it, and North Korea say they built it. So yeah.
Like the opposing side.
Yeah, they're both saying each other built it, but South Korea's reasons were what you just said there. Of course, this would be very beneficial in a war, and it's believed there are many more tunnels. These are just the 3 that have been found. But it was, what blew my mind is just how that went unnoticed. Like, digging a hole is not easy, and to keep it structurally okay is also not easy.
Mm.
Like, I always get annoyed at films when someone's digging a hole for whatever reason, and literally within like 5 minutes they've dug like the size of a grave.
Yeah.
I challenge you to go outside in your garden and dig a hole deeper than a metre in 10 minutes.
It wouldn't happen.
It won't happen. You if you haven't dug a hole before, you will be shocked how long it takes you.
Yeah.
I know obviously you're going to have machines, I know that. But it's shocking how long it takes. And secondly, where you put the dirt.
Mm.
Like that, just digging a bit down, it's mounds and mounds and mounds of dirt. So that would have taken an exceptionally long time to build all these tunnels. So it surprised me it went so unnoticed and completed. But that's obviously, that's what blew my mind. But yeah, that's probably the closest we got to North Korea, because it took you to a metal door and you could look through to another metal door, which was North Korea's side of the tunnel, which is quite funny that they've even split the tunnel in half. So yeah, maybe the first ever border where they have to split both the underground and overground.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think they said something like if they were successful with I don't know, so there's something like 30,000 troops an hour could get through it or something.
It was something wild like that, yeah. Which doesn't surprise me, because it's so long, I guess you could just keep filing them through.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been highly effective. Just one final thing I want to mention on it is something wild, like I was reading in the museum that I found really interesting was, and it got me thinking. So let me tell you one of the stories that I learned about. In 1976, a US Army sergeant was killed because what he was doing was he was on the border. This is when the British were involved, but there was no boots on the ground at this point. But the sergeant was annoyed with this tree disrupting his view from where his office was. So he decided to go out and axe the tree down, whereas the North Korean side wasn't happy with him axing this tree down. And how the story goes is that there were 2 North Korean soldiers that axed this British sergeant, and that escalated into a dispute. And then it came literally seconds away from a war being broken out. The only reason it didn't is because there was a letter of plea to calm everything down literally within 24 hours from North Korea.
Wait, so are you saying that is it that... So somebody cut down a tree, but so you're saying that 2 soldiers killed a man?
Correct. So a British sergeant was on the South Korean side.
Yeah.
He was in his office. The tree was obstructing his view.
Yeah.
So he went out and he went to axe that tree down.
And was the tree on the north or the south side?
Well, this was the argument.
Okay.
I think the argument was that the north side was arguing that it's on their side. And they argued, and then how the story goes, how it was written in this museum, was then these 2 North Korean military killed the guy because he was like, no, I'm taking this tree down. And why I say this story is, one, I was just wowed by how that then escalated into literally minutes away from the war breaking out. But it's just got de-escalated when North Korea sent a letter of like, let's chill this out.
Yeah.
Let's not. But it got me thinking, how many wars have started from really small things? Because I found when we've gone around the world, when we've read museums and where's the actual start? Now, I agree there are many movements, there are many things that happen politically, economically. There are many events that will happen that you can say added petrol to the fire of a war. But there's usually one single event that starts it. And I've noticed, like, for example, Cambodia, Thailand, there was a bit of skirmish. The tension was rising, and then they weren't supposed to fire on each other, and then there was a bit of a skirmish in a village. Thailand said Cambodia did it, Cambodia said Thailand did it, and then the war broke out. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, it can be such a tiny thing, it can be a tiny dispute. And I looked it up, and some notable ones. The War of Jenkins, which was in 1739, a British captain's ear was cut off by a Spanish coast guard. And this escalated tensions that helped spark the war between the British and Spain in the Caribbean.
Okay.
For cutting his ear off. This is in history says that was really the start of what then tipped the scales. The Pig War in 1859. A pig was shot on disputed territory between the US and Britain in San Juan Islands, and the conflict nearly led to a war, but was just last minute resolved diplomatically. So there, over a pig being shot on the incorrect territory nearly created a war. And the final one, the Marco Polo Bridge incident in 1937, a minor skirmish between Chinese and Japanese troops near Beijing escalated into full-scale war, marking the start of the Second Sino-Japanese War.
Oh.
So there were two examples that did start a war and one that nearly.
Yeah.
But it's just that I just thought that was fascinating, that these tiny incidents that can be easily resolved, actually the ripple effect, like they say, the butterfly effect, if that one thing didn't happen, if that British captain's ear didn't get cut off, if that skirmish didn't happen, then would we still be getting these wars?
It's an interesting question. Who knows? Yeah, everything's got to have that sort of start point, hasn't it, and trigger point, and like you say, to cause that ripple effect, that butterfly effect of the entire war starting. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. So, it's food for thought. And I'm not ignoring that there are many, like I said, geopolitical things going on. There is definitely, the fire usually is hot when you get to that point.
Yeah.
But there has to be a trigger. There has to be the final thing. And if those ones didn't happen...
The straw that broke the camel's back.
Exactly. Maybe a week later it could have started to slow down. Maybe something would have changed. There is potential. So I find it interesting.
Definitely. Very interesting. And I'd love to hear something else interesting from you, Scott. I think it'll be time for Scott's WTF of the week.
I think it is. Every week the world gets a little weirder. Let's talk about the strangest thing that went down this week. So, this is going to freak you out, just so you know.
Okay.
This is going to freak you out. A 65-year-old woman, in Thailand, stunned temple staff from the temple when she woke up inside her coffin.
Oh.
Moments before being cremated.
Jeez Louise.
So moments before she was about to be burnt alive, she woke up in her coffin. This happened this month.
Oh my God.
This happened, it was reported just a couple of days ago. So what happened, so let me give you some background. According to local reports, so she had been bedridden for 2 years. So she had been bedridden for 2 years. So she was ill. She was in ill health. And her health had worsened in the days before the incident. And she basically suddenly, in the days before, became unresponsive and appeared to stop breathing. And her brother, he didn't seek, in that moment, he believed she was dead. Mm-hmm. So he didn't seek medical confirmation.
How is that legal?
It's crazy, right? She's been bedridden for 2 years. She's ill. In the last few days, I can't even get a breath on her. She's not moving. She's not responding. Okay, she's dead. That's what his assumption's been. So he hasn't got medical confirmation, which, yeah, I agree, that should not be legal. And instead he assumed this. And also apparently local officials, I don't know really who that's referring to, apparently they mentioned in the article, they also said to him, yeah, she's dead. I don't know who those were, maybe the people in the temple. So he basically prepared her body and he placed her in a coffin and then drove 300 miles with her in a coffin in his car.
Okay, he sounds like a psychopath, but go on.
In it. It's like as if this guy isn't going to get arrested at the end of the story. He drove 300 miles from his home. I'm going to need you on this, Susie.
Vitsanulok.
So that province, thank you. So he went to a temple in this place just outside Bangkok because it actually offers free cremation services.
Tight bastard.
So he's either a tight bastard. Yeah, I guess he's a tight bastard. Yeah, tight bastard. Yeah. So he literally took her to a place that do free cremation, which is, yeah. And just before the ceremony began, literally just before it was about to begin and they were going to say the rituals and burn her, the temple manager heard a very faint knocking on the coffin.
Oh, God.
Very faint. And they opened the coffin and she was alive. Her eyes opening and still tapping on the lid.
Oh, it's literally my worst nightmare.
What do you think happened to her?
A coma or something? I don't know what. Like, she's passed out. Obviously, she was unresponsive. Her brother's, like, tried waking her. She can't wake up. She's not breathing. Yeah, coma would be my guess.
Not far off. So, she was taken to Bangye Hospital, where doctors reported she was suffering from
Hypoglycemia.
And she was treated and later released back into care with her brother.
That's low blood sugar. That's wild.
So this part, what I'm about to say, isn't been reported in the article, but I looked it up because I was trying to understand how on earth someone could be believed to be dead.
Mm.
And apparently severe hypoglycemia can make a person appear lifeless, unmoving, unresponsive, and with such shallow breathing that death can be easily assumed. So again, this is a medical interpretation. So this is what they believe, or we're believing right now is the explanation, is because if you have that at a severe level, it can make you look like you're dead.
Right. How interesting. I wouldn't have thought that, like, yeah. That's wild that you could look dead from that, from low blood sugar. I get severe, but still.
So it's just wild to think that happened.
I can't get over. Like, how would you not seek medical attention? I don't get that. I don't understand. And why would you drive 300, miles, kilometres, whatever, with your dead sister in a coffin for a free funeral? Like, away from any family and friends that might have wanted. Maybe she had no family and friends, I don't know. But 65 is not old.
No.
At all. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Baby, please don't ever lock me in a coffin and think that I'm dead.
No, I promise I won't. I promise I'll do everything I can to awake you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I think to be honest, I think this brother is suspect.
Totally.
Because this is what really made me feel suspect. They asked him, do you have anything to say?
Yeah.
You know, what's she feeling about this crazy story about, your sister's revived? You know what he said?
What?
I'm indifferent about it.
I'm indifferent about it?
That's what's been reported. Quoted, it's been reported. I'm indifferent.
He's so sauce.
How sus is that?
That's wild. Oh, what a sad story. But I'm glad she's okay, and I hope she stays far away from her brother.
Well, no, she has gone back into his care.
What?
So...
Oh my god, people check... If you're in Bangkok, please check in on this lady.
I think this guy needs to be looked into. It might be a complete misunderstanding, but I think it needs to be looked into, because to say you feel indifferent about your sister being alive is...
Evil.
Seems, yeah.
That's horrible.
Evil to me.
Oh, what a wacky story.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good one. Pretty, obviously sad, but pretty nutty, isn't it?
It is.
Strange to say the
Thank you
least.
for sharing.
Yeah, and let us know what you think about that, listeners, please.
Yes. Have you ever mistaken... Well, I suppose it's a bit like poor hamsters, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that is true. There's like a big percentage, something like 30% of hamsters die because people bury them alive.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Because when they go into hibernation, they look dead.
Yeah.
So...
They go very cold, they freeze up, they harden, so they look like they're dead.
Yeah.
But they're just hibernating, and most people don't know that.
That's so sad.
It's crazy.
Well, I think we should move on from sad and crazy news to happy news with Shelby's Good Vibes Only. Let's take a break from the chaos. Here's something to make you smile this week.
Shelby's Good Vibes Only.
Uruguay has built a power grid running nearly 99% of the country on renewable energy.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? So that is half the cost of fossil fuels, which is really impressive. It was led by the former energy minister.
Very good.
Probably my love. The country replaced imported oil and gas with wind, solar, hydropower, and biomass. So this is so exciting and impressive that they are looking towards renewable energies. So they use 45% of electricity is hydropower, 35% is wind, 15% is biomass, and then solar fills the remaining gaps. So that's really, like, just, of course, like, we've got these things available to us. Why are we not utilising them? Why are we resorting to fossil fuels, destroying the country, when we can use wind and water and the sun, like the things that are naturally provided to us? And what's really cool is it's actually created a lot of new jobs. So the 50,000 new jobs in Uruguay, and the electricity costs are now roughly 50% less. It's attracted $6 billion in renewable investments, which is 12% of their GDP, for any statisticians out there that are...
Very good word. Very good word.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is, I'll be honest, I almost didn't believe this was going to happen in our lifetime. Like, just because I know the majority, I think most people believe that climate is getting worse. I know there's a bigger portion of people I feel daily that are believing it's a hoax, but like the Trumps of the world. But I believe that a lot of us recognise this is a real problem and it is going to affect the world in a very bad way. So I'm just amazed that this has happened, that a country has actually achieved nearly 100% renewable energy. I didn't believe that was going to happen in our lifetime, because we are hungry for the wrong things, we're money hungry, power hungry, and they're a lot of the time who the leaders are. And, in America, for example, Trump doesn't even value the environment. Like he cancelled out. I remember when he took on power over Barack Obama, he actually cancelled a bunch of the
Like the climate agreement.
A lot of agreements, he cancelled them as soon as he got into power.
Yeah.
And he's come out and said, like, he doesn't believe in climate change. He says it's just a hoax.
Well, yeah, he thinks that paracetamol causes autism, so...
Yeah, I don't know how you can believe anything he says, to be honest. So, it just makes me so proud to know that Uruguay have done this. I think that is an unbelievable feat, and how that isn't being talked about in every news outlet, in every part of the world. 99% of renew. They're the first country to ever do this. It's an unbelievable feat. They deserve an award for it. Yeah,
well, and also the fact that it's... no shade on Uruguay, but it's not exactly known for being, not that I'm aware of, a leading country of these revolutionary initiatives. It wouldn't have surprised me if I'd have heard Sweden had done it, for example.
Yeah.
Or countries that you consistently hear about as being really forward thinking, really. And literally, I know nothing about Uruguay, but that's what I'm saying. It's not a country that you would immediately think of for it. Not against it either. Just,
I understand.
Awesome sauce. So happy news, and hoping that many countries follow suit.
I hope so. And apparently poverty has dropped from 30% to 8%. And the economy has grown from 6 to 8% annually.
Even more for the statisticians.
Well,
also what I think is a really lovely thing is what Menendez Gallin has said, the former leader. The question is not whether renewables can work, the question is whether governments have the courage to change the rules. And that is what we all want to know, isn't it?
That's it. That's for sure. That's what it comes down to, doesn't it? We've just got to hope that the leaders that we vote in are going to do that. I think I think maybe we're just voting Green Party. Job done.
It's so interesting that you say that, because the leader of the Green Party in the UK is really making waves. I think he's having a really positive... Yeah, he is. Which I don't know if it's because of my personal political leanings that I'm seeing more of their posts. Because obviously your algorithm is biased towards your preference, isn't it? I've seen a lot of talks with him when he's he doesn't take any prisoners. They've had a significant number of record numbers of people joining the Green Party, and they're ahead in the polls, they're ahead of Conservatives. It's...
Wow.
Yeah. So who knows? Hopefully, fingers crossed, we shall see.
I do hope so.
Me too. Well, I think maybe we move on now to our vegan voyages, which is where we talk about our experience of eating vegan food in a particular place, and in this case, the most recent one is South Korea. So, how easy was it to find vegan options, Scott?
This was disappointing.
This is out of 5.
This is out of 5. I was quite surprised, actually. It's a 2 out of 5.
Barely.
Barely, and honestly, it's barely a 2. It really... It was 1 up until like the last 5 days
Yeah.
of the trip. It is the hardest place we've ever been to find vegan options.
Yeah.
It's harder than China to find vegan options.
And China's been very easy. So.
Yeah, China is... It's actually a misconception, as China's actually not bad. So yeah, it is... Honestly, from the vegan options trying to find, it's been the worst place we've ever visited.
Yeah, and I think the 2 only comes from the fact that tofu exists in this region of the world.
Tofu exists and it's easily accessible. And when you get more central to Seoul, there are a few more vegan options.
Yeah.
Vegan. But it's crazy because we're in Incheon, which is a very populated... I mean, it's where the university is. It's hippity happening.
Heaps of restaurants around. There's like
Heaps.
Rows and rows, layers and layers. Like the buildings are like 10 floors and they'll all have a restaurant on them.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of restaurants. More restaurants than anything, really. And cafes. And there wasn't one vegan restaurant.
No.
There wasn't one single vegan restaurant or a vegetarian restaurant. The only vegan restaurant we eventually found was when we went super central Seoul. Like right in the centre of Seoul. And I don't even know if we found a vegan restaurant.
I don't think we did. I don't think we went to a single solely like plant-based restaurant.
Oh wow, I thought we might have. Okay, maybe we just went to Indians and restaurants that are a bit easier to make vegan.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's barely a 2. It could be a 1.
I could. What about how tasty was the vegan food that we did find?
I would say 3. That's not to say that South Korea are bad cooks. I think if you're not a vegan, you're probably that's gonna be higher.
You had those vegetarian potatoes, didn't you? But
I had some jacket potatoes that were delightful, which was my favourite thing I got. Basic jacket potatoes covered in this nice sauce. But they were vegetarian, not vegan. I think because of how limited options it was, it brought down the quality. So, I mean, we love an Indian, but we went to 2 different Indians. I didn't have the food in the second one, to be fair, but you did, so you can let me know. But yeah. I thought it was very average.
Yeah, it was. It's not difficult to make nice Indian food, is it? So
no. If the British can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, right. It was totally average. There was no meal that I had that I was like, wow. In fact, probably one of the nicest was we had the spaghetti a couple of times, didn't we, from an Italian. That was okay. That was quite nice, actually. And then, yeah, just generally speaking, there wasn't anything that stood out as being amazing.
No, there wasn't. How affordable is the vegan food?
Well, we were undecided on this, weren't we? We were sort of stuck between a 3 and a 4 and landed on a 4. Because, like, you never really spent more than £10 a head on a meal. Yeah, I think that was the most that we spent, maybe 15. So, yeah, it was reasonably affordable. Like,
yeah.
Cheaper than the UK, but not as cheap as, like, Vietnam, Laos, Shanghai.
Yeah, we've kept it a 4. Yeah, it's a tough one to decide because it makes it really difficult when there's a lack of vegan options in a country, because then it makes it challenging to fairly say the affordability of it.
Yeah.
So...
Well, the one thing I will say is Starbucks was cheap. It was like, Starbucks was on par.
Starbucks was cheap, yeah.
It was like no more than £3.50 for a venti oat milk vanilla latte. Which would be like £7 at home, I think £6 or £7.
Yeah, it seemed like the cost of food was okay. Yeah. It was alright. What's a dish or restaurant you must try?
Well, see, this is the difficult thing, isn't it? Because there were very, very limited choices. But close to us, for me, the place that I went to repeatedly was a place called Slow Cali. And it's a poke bowl chain that you'll find throughout South Korea. And it was quite nice. Like, I get the buckwheat noodles and salad, and then you can choose your own toppings to go on it. I'd be mindful to mention to them not to put the furikake on it, because sometimes that can have fish in it. I don't know if this one particularly did. didn't look like it did because they put it on once and I scraped it off. And you can choose your own dressings like soy sauce or whatever, sriracha. You get free jalapenos if you eat in. You can get like little sauces from the side for free, which was nice. But that would be my recommendation. That was the easiest like go-to at any time. I could just go there, like they're open pretty much all hours.
Yeah, that was the best go-to we had, that Pokeball place. I can actually recommend one restaurant, but again, it's not vegan. I'm vegetarian, Shelby's vegan, so it does go outside of the parameters, but I will share it just in case there's some veggie watchers. There is actually, again, this is in the heart of Seoul. This is in the Lotte World Tower, which has a very cool cinema in. And there's actually a Gordon Ramsay restaurant in there. It's called Gordon Ramsay Burger. It's not as expensive as you would think. It's about £15. And he has a good veggie burger in there. Just be careful. They do have a sauce they put on the side, which is fish sauce. I can't remember the name of it. But
do you know what? I do actually think that it's a vegan burger because it says vegan cheese on on the listing. But then again, they have that fish sauce on the side. So basically, if you go ask, it may be vegan.
Okay, so it could be vegan. Just double check. And they could always take off the cheese. So definitely, there's probably potential it could be vegan, but it's absolutely vegetarian. And it was actually quite a nice burger. And it came with sweet potato wedges, and they were great.
Zucchini fries.
Oh, zucchini fries, and they were great. Yeah. So yeah, that was a good burger. The one thing that annoys me about burgers in general is when they make it really big and you can't get it in one bite.
Yeah, you mean like too tall?
It's too tall. That really frustrates me with a burger, because how do you approach it? I find it weird to have to cut up a burger and eat. Like, I think if you have to do that, the burger's ruined. Like, and that's what you have to do. If you have a burger that's too big to go in one bite, then you have to cut it, take off some things, and then like eat a bit of the bread. But what happens then? Everything gets soggy, and then it's just a mess. So it was slightly too big. I like a burger. If you can just eat it in one bite, then you can enjoy the burger, right?
Yeah.
So that's a general pet hate of burgers. I would still recommend the place because it's quite limited of a country.
Well, I guess now we move on to knowing whether South Korea is worth the trip.
Yes, and worth the trip is important, what you just said there. So, like we've been saying for the last 45, this is the 74th, 5th, 6th?
75th.
We're on the 75th episode, and for many episodes we've been saying we need to update the name of the travel segment, and we've landed on a name, and it is...
Worth the trip.
Worth the trip, which hopefully you guys like. Let us know. So it's called Worth the Trip. So we'll tell you after, when we do our first impressions of country, we'll do it under Worth the Trip, and also we'll do our favourite and least favourite and the rest of it that comes under there. So of course we did our first impressions an episode or two ago, so now we want to let you know our favourite and least favourite thing. We're going to rate the place for you out of 5, and also let you know what's something you need to know before you go, and overall, would we recommend the country to visit? So, least favourite thing, my darling.
Okay. This is maybe... Okay, I've got... The kind of linked is 2, but it is 1. And half of it is going to sound silly.
Okay.
But in South Korea, there's something that is referred to as the no colour rule.
Oh, ha!
And that is... You can't wear... I mean, you can, obviously, it's a free enough country. Like, you can wear whatever you want, but everybody wears, like, natural tones, like black, white, nudes, navies. You don't see anybody veering outside of that. At first, I was like, it was just like I was sat in Starbucks. I was like, everyone's dressed the same. Like, they all look like a catalogue. Like, this looks like a Starbucks advert. Like, and they've all been styled to blend, and everyone looks really cool and stylish, nice. And then I saw a video on it, and yeah, there's apparently a no colour rule where people choose. It's partly about fashion, but it's also partly about not wanting to stand out. It's seen as a bit like show-offy if you try and look different, and it's very much, we all need to be the same. And I don't like that. I love the fashion; it looks great. Everyone looks great. But what this also ties into, so the other half, it's a little bit more serious, is I did find South Korea to be a bit cliquey and a bit like if you don't quite fit, you're not quite wanted.
Mm.
And that's, people were lovely, particularly the older Koreans were super, super nice and like could not have been sweeter to us. But there was just a very slight air of, you're not from here, we don't really want you here, from the younger ones.
Oh, from the younger ones, yeah.
And most, to be fair, mostly younger women. Like, the younger guys that we interacted with all seemed quite friendly.
Super nice.
But yeah, that was like a vibe that, like, sometimes I'd walk into a shop and I'd just kind of feel like a
clicky
like,
that,
like not quite an eye roll, not quite a tuck, but not far from it. And it's hard to explain that. Maybe that was a little bit in my head, but that I just got the vibe of like the no colour rule. You've got to all kind of look the same, everyone dressed the same, everyone, acts the same, nobody stands out.
I think I'd be a nightmare then if I lived there. Because I very much just dress how I dress, I wouldn't conform to that.
Everything you wear is black.
Everything is black, yeah. But they all wear cream and I don't wear cream.
Yeah.
Even when I wore my blue top, I felt like I was sticking out.
Yeah, I know.
Because everyone was in cream. Like, just a blank blue top. So yeah, it was a bit strange, but I don't know. I think that's an interesting conversation whether you should conform to that. I think there's a balance when you go to countries. There's elements of a culture you should absolutely respect, and whether you agree with it or not, sort of just fall in line. And then there's other things that maybe you can respect but not fall in line. I think that is probably a spectrum. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's probably everyone stands in different places of that. Personally, for me, that is not something you respect, but you just get on with how you dress.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's something that you should have to.
Yeah, it's not a cultural, it's not offensive, you know what I mean? Nobody's offended by you wearing a bright top and it's not, and I did notice that some of the older people would wear different colours. It was a fashion thing.
Yeah.
And I think you can ignore whatever the fashion, unless it's like culturally insensitive, obviously.
Yeah, like showing too much skin.
Yeah. Like in Saudi, like it wasn't a fashion thing to wear an abaya, it was a cultural thing, so I wore it. But then but it wasn't necessary also, it was out of respect. I don't know, it's a tough one. If it's not, I think if it's not required for tradition or it's not part of the tradition, then I don't think you need to pay much mind to the fashion.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good example. You wouldn't wear that abaya day to day, but...
Yeah, and I would wear strappy tops day to day, but I wouldn't. You wouldn't wear... For respect.
Yes, correct, yeah, so I think that's a good example. So, for me, my least favourite is 1000% the maps.
Oh.
I can only spend 30 seconds on this because I will end up losing my mind. For such a teched out place, the maps are absolutely fudged. So when I say maps, I mean the map applications. We downloaded about 7 different map applications and just none of them worked. None of them could find any location. None of them could predict. All of them said you have to get a train, even if it was like 2 blocks down. It said, the only way is get a train. None of them would say you could walk there. The projected time of walking or train was completely wrong. It was a nightmare.
It'd even pop up on the screen, wouldn't it? Like saying this is accurate to within 500 metres or to within 1 kilometre, depending on where you were.
1
Like, that's less than useless. Like, that's... like, if you could be a kilometre wrong, I don't even want to know your input. Like,
exactly.
I mean, totally the wrong direction.
It blew my mind for a place that's so teched out. It surprises me. And we tried applications we hadn't even used before. And it was so frustrating, especially when I was trying to plan my hikes and my runs. Oh God, I spent close to an hour just to try figure out how I could get to the city hall. It was like a 25-minute walk, and it wouldn't even figure out where we were as a location. And if I put in our address, it couldn't find it. If I put in our apartment, it couldn't find it. If I put in the destination, it said, okay, currently you're situated in this forest, which was about 3 miles away, and you're trying to get to this mountain. No. It was the map applications were so bad.
Yeah, that was incredibly frustrating. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. The train lines were a bit annoying as well. Whilst the trains were simple, you had to always get like 2-3 trains just to try get to one other part of the city, which surprised me.
Yeah, and just like the fact 'cause we were in Incheon, which is like a suburb of Seoul, it takes like an hour and a half to get
to centre of Seoul.
It's bizarre. It's like 30 kilometres away or something.
Yeah.
Like you could run it.
I could run it. It was strange. Yeah, it surprised me because there was a lot of things, I would say there's a lot of things about South Korea why I was impressed with how it was built. So yeah, those things were surprising. Moving on to our favourite, what is your favourite thing about South Korea?
This is going to sound so superficial, but there's a shop called Olive Young.
Yeah, I was expecting you to say, no, that's fair.
Right, so, and there's more context to this. So Olive Young is a skincare shop. It's like a bit like a Superdrug, but it's got all really nice skin. Superdrug does too, but like it's got Korean skincare, which Korean skincare is like, it's famous, isn't it, for being the best skincare in the world. Really advanced. I even gotten those gel masks that you put on for like 4 hours and it goes translucent and your face soaks up all the goodness. And it's great. I really enjoyed being in there. I went in there multiple times a week. I bought gifts for people from there. It's nice and affordable skincare as well. I used to work for a company called Neil Jard Remedies, which is a lovely British skincare company. So like natural products. And when I worked there, I was really into my skincare routine and my skin was great. It's not bad now, but like I was really into my skincare routine. And I've kind of maintained it a little bit throughout the years, but not like a full, I do my cleanser, my toner, my serum, my cream and all that. So I feel like it's helped me to fall back in love with that process of like that self-care, using my skincare and all that. So that was one of my favourite things. But also, I just wanted to mention Cimer, Cimer, the spa that we went to, because that also, it just really reminded me about doing things for self-care, like going to spas, doing saunas, steam rooms. Yeah, just the wellness side of it. That was my favourite thing about South Korea. That's reawakened that within me.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was the world's best spa. That was excellent, and we recommend it. Yeah, you went to Olive Young probably like 9 times.
At least.
And you filled another suitcase with it. And
half that suitcase is filled with your Olive Young products, my darling, don't
not
worry.
mine, with all yours, and that's, yeah, let the listeners know. But we regularly have to get an additional suitcase because we just end up, 1, finding it harder and harder to pack, and 2, we buy a couple of things.
Yeah.
But we definitely bought the most this chapter of travel.
100%. What is your favourite thing about South Korea, baby?
There's quite a few things I could say here, but I think we struck it right with the season. We were right at the end of autumn going into winter, and I've never seen a place as autumnal as South Korea. If you're in the right spot within the UK, or UK can get very nice and autumnal if you're close to a lot of good forests and that. But it was just, even the neighbourhood, the suburb of Incheon was autumnal. Like, it had trees all down the roads. And I just loved it. It was so many vibrant colours, bright reds, oranges, yellows. There was a massive tree outside our apartment that was completely, and it was just so beautiful to see. And quite unique to see such vibrant colours all around the place. I'm just not used to that. And I don't live in a place in the UK that I've been surrounded by that, where I'd see it all the time. So I really enjoyed that when I went on my runs and my hike. Like, my hike was incredible. I went through a forest. And that was obviously super autumnal. Every tree was colourful. So yeah, that was really special, and it just felt like a unique thing to experience.
Oh, that's lovely. And that, I hear all the time that the best time to go to South Korea is either in the spring or the autumn, and we managed to do that, and I totally agree. It was stunning. Like, I loved the leaves. You even got me some red leaves from your hike, didn't you? I
did, because you like the red ones. So I'd recommend go in autumn time if you were to go. Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. And then, just in general, what would you rate South Korea out of 5?
I think South Korea is a cool place. The vegan side is annoying, so that is tough. So I think we'd go with a 4 out of 5. The vegan side of it is difficult, but the place is very cool. South Korea is very cool, and so that's why we go 4 out of 5. It maybe doesn't compare to the favourite places we've been to, so we won't quite put it as a 5, but I'd still put it, 4 is very high. It's out of 5. This is definitely a very fun, it's a cool place. I would say out of the places we've gone, it's probably got the highest cool rating.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
People were fashionable and cool. Like, you felt cool being there.
Yeah, and like lots of fun things to do as well, from the spas to the hikes to we went to a gaming bar where we had our own little booth, and they've just got cool activities. So it's a very fun place. If you're not vegan, you're not going to have the slightest complaint about it.
No, a bunch of barbecue houses, bunch of everywhere sells meat. Also, the cafe culture is excellent.
Yeah, cafe culture is great there.
I would say it's better than a Kosovo because whilst Kosovo probably has more cafes on average, the difference with South Korea is the cafes were much more individual. They also, what I noticed about South Korea, they knew branding.
Yeah.
Branding in South Korea was very good. Like, every restaurant felt very bespoke. Cafe felt bespoke. It was completely branded. I appreciated that. It was branded really well. And it felt cool. And it felt like a better vibe because you felt like you were going into a unique place every time.
Yeah.
Rather than just a rented room. So the cafes felt different. They had unique menus. They had different types of menus, different twists on a drink and a coffee. So if you went to different cafes, it felt different. It helped you work better. So I would say from a cafe culture point of view, it's the best place we've been.
Yeah, I would agree with that also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that hopefully explains why we gave it a 4 and not a 5. It's very close to being a 5, but yeah, just not quite.
What's something you need to know about South Korea before you go?
Oh, see, there's quite a few things that I would say. I guess knowing that the maps don't work, that's important.
Yeah, that. Oh my god.
K-Ride is the Uber app. You can use Uber there as well. It's just not as widely available. Anything that you would think?
Yeah, K-Ride is the app. It's not as intuitive as Uber, so it's a little frustrating, but it works well as getting taxis. Be careful if you go onto like an island, because there's a lot of mini islands in South Korea, especially around the Incheon area. K-Ride doesn't go that wide outside of the Seoul suburbs, so I got stuck on an island. So it was like the dark was coming in. It was getting very cold, and I couldn't get out of this island, so I had to get like 3 buses and trains and stuff. The final thing, which is a strange thing that I've not noticed anywhere, is the alerts. So most countries have this now where they will send alerts to your mobile phone if there's a disaster coming, whether it's a tsunami, a missile, a serious imminent threat to everyone. Like in Europe, UK, and a lot of European countries have started testing this. We've never received a message that has actually given us a real warning. We've only ever received test ones. And interestingly, they actually did a test one, I think it was this year, that they did it with a noise as well. So at the same time, it sent you an alert and it made your phone make a noise, which is kind of crazy, that happened all around the UK. But why I'm saying this is South Korea actually leverages this technology for just weekly announcements. But they're for like things they're trying to figure out. So most of them are because someone's missing. So it'll come up. We'd have to translate it. Because at first, obviously, we were freaked out.
Yeah.
Because we've only ever received it for those reasons. Like in America, we've received a couple for warnings as well.
Had it in Japan for earthquakes.
Japan for earthquakes. So once it appeared, we were like, oh no. And it was all in Korean, so we're like, double oh no.
Double in.
Because now we're like, okay, something's going to come. Let's quickly figure this out. So we've quickly translated. But in that moment, we're both catastrophizing like, oh no, what is it? I thought, okay, it's probably going to be an earthquake. We probably need to brace ourselves once we translate this.
Yeah.
And it was like, 70-year-old man in a grey top, black shoes and blue jeans is missing. If you see him, his name's Al.
Yeah.
Let us know. So we'll get that like every week. So don't worry about it. Definitely read them because it could be a serious warning. But yeah.
Yeah. Would you recommend it overall, my darling, South Korea?
Yeah, I would. And I would recommend it for everyone. Again, for the vegans and veggies out there as well. It's going to be challenging, but it's a cool place. And there's a lot of things worth going for. So yeah, I would still recommend it to everyone.
Definitely. Oh, just one more thing that I think is important to know is if you don't have a local phone number, it's really difficult to use some of the apps. Like we couldn't use any of the food delivery services.
No, which is annoying.
Yeah.
So
if
get
you
an accommodation near.
get an accommodation near a supermarket or get a SIM card, like from the airport or something. But we used Airalo as we always do, and it worked really well. So thank you so much for listening to our delightful episode number 75. If you haven't already, at the start of the episode, please do subscribe, like, share our podcast, and rate us on wherever you listen to us. Give us a 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it.
We really would. It really helps us out so much. Please do. And just let us know in the comments if you liked it, or if you didn't, or if you would change something up. We're always trying to learn. We're always coming together to try to figure out how to improve this podcast. So, yeah, please let us know if there's something we're missing.
And let us know if you have any questions about South Korea too.
Yeah, we were happy to answer them.
Another adventure wrapped up.
But the journey never ends.
Keep your bags packed for the next one, and remember, when in doubt, just say,
Yalla Habibi. See you next time.